Well, here I am again, and it's been a while since I've done a solo episode. So, welcome to my podcast. I'm your host, Moyra Gorski. This is Your Journey to Joy. And this episode has been kind of racing around in my head for a little while. And I finally have a little bit of time to sit down and chat it out and share it out with you. And first of all, I want to say I'm so grateful. And I hear from you every once in a while and say, you know what, I listened to your podcast on the way to work. It really helped me. I really loved what your insight was. I really loved that interview. People that I didn't even know was listening to my podcast are listening. So I'm really, really grateful for you. This started out as something, five, right? 5 years ago. And it has continued to be a wonderful passion project of mine, if you will. Sometimes I don't like that word, but just a way that I can express my feelings, but also connect with others and share their knowledge and their awesomeness in life and their journey to joy with you while they're sharing it with me. And this podcast idea started by a friend of mine who actually was a coach of mine many, many years ago. She sent me a picture, how those pictures pop up on Facebook that are our memories and things like that. And this one popped up for her, apparently, and she sent it to me. And it's a picture of me standing in front of this poster that honestly, I don't think I have anymore. I think I might have gotten rid of it when I moved, although it might be rolled up someplace in my basement or closet. But it is at the end of a very long, intensive weekend of a program that I took called Pathways for Better Living. And she's the one that recommended that I go to it. And I wrote about it in my book or my collaborative chapter, the chapter that I wrote in a collaborative book. And so if you'd like that link to that book, you can send me a message and say I'd love to see that book. It's again, I talked about that in that particular book, but it was again, if you've been to any Tony Robbins things, if you've been to any intensive weekends, we arrived on Friday afternoon. We stayed in the room till, midnight, with a break for dinner and things like that. And then we're there all day Saturday evening, all day Sunday evening. And I think we came back on Tuesday. But I'm pretty sure I don't know, I can't remember. But it was either the culmination of that or it was a culmination of then I went on and did a couple other programs. And there was one called Advanced, which was a 5-day intensive. Might have been after that. But regardless, it's me smiling in front of this poster, which says, I think this is after Advanced. My name is Moyra Gorski. I'm a powerful, expressive, confident, and free woman. And I signed it. And then my friends who I met signed it on that. And it was for me when I looked at that and what she said to me too, when she goes, look how far you've come. I mean, this was an extremely transformational weekend that honestly, I went to it because I thought my son could benefit from it. One of my sons was really struggling with some things, and actually, my friend Leslie talked to me about pathways and says maybe maybe Tyler could go to that, and maybe that would be helpful for him. And then she said, as I talked to her as well as the creator of the whole program, Sue, she said, there's going to be different things that you learn in this weekend. So why not you go too? Because there's going to be different languaging and stuff like that. And you guys could learn together. I thought, why not? Right. And so I did, but I was focused on how it could help him. And suffice to say, my son didn't stay for the whole weekend. He had some, and then he just wasn't really interested in learning and being there. And so he went home, and I stayed for the rest of the time. And I realized that as much as it would have been and perhaps Tyler, my son, learned some things from that. What I learned from that weekend was extremely transformational for me in how I went forward in my life. And I think one of the most important things was when she talked to us about how we show up in the world. Are we a victim? Are we a villain? Victim, villain, martyr? Or are we the leader of our own life? And I felt like it was really evident that I really played the martyr quite a bit. And I played as a victim quite a bit. And I also had a hard time asking for help. And that first weekend really taught me how to start looking at being the leader of my own life and saying no to being a martyr, saying no to being a victim, and really standing in my own power. And then as I'm looking at this picture too, while I'm recording this, I know this was after that 5-day intensive where we really deep dive into, the way that we were raised and the stories that played in our head and all of those things, and really came to terms with that from growing up all the way, up until the age that we were then. And really started to say, like, if we could be the leader of our own lives, what would we want it to be like? What would we want our lives to be like? And how can we stand in our power? And what would that look like? And making that powerful statement about us and proclaiming it out to the world. And it was really, really powerful. That's a very brief 5 minute description of what I did, which really changed the trajectory of my life. But I also want to talk about this other exercise that I learned about through the Mel Robbins podcast. But, again, I look at this and I made that statement that I am Moyra Gorski and I'm a powerful, expressive, confident, and free woman. I was making that statement and projecting, I've done exercises like this, and I think I maybe have talked about it on the podcast, where we want to, maybe we don't feel super confident or super powerful, but we want to start acting that way, because when we start acting that way, then that becomes true, right? And we start acting like the person that we want to be, and that's part of what this program was all about, is how do you really want to show up in the world, and then make that expression out to the world, and then start living it. And again, we took this poster home and I put it in my room and looked at it often. I have some other posters and dream boards and proclamations and things like that in my room now. But first, that's what I first wanted to bring about, that I feel like I look at that person and it was so long ago. And I was so grateful for that weekend and for that 5-day intensive, because it really did change the trajectory of my life. And I look at that person in that picture and I was like, wow, besides the fact that her hair is a little bit more brown than mine is now, because mine's much more gray and white. But I've gone through a lot since then. And that was the start of something really cool. So have you done anything like that? Have you ever gone to Tony Robbins or any intensive weekends? Have you done pathways for better living, Have you done anything like that that has really changed the trajectory? I'd love to hear from you about that. And I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to come to terms and come face to face with those stories that I've been telling myself, that had been running through my head, and the way that I had accepted life was going to be. It wasn't easy to come to terms with that and to look at that, but that's what we did, is we looked at it, we cried, we screamed, we yelled, we, committed to putting things away and moving on to something better. So super powerful. Wondering if you've done anything like that. But when I was listening to the Mel Robbins podcast recently, I love her. Do you listen to her podcast? She had one that talked about the Odyssey Plan, which was something that was developed by some professors at Stanford. And it's a proven method to help shake up your thinking. It really helps expand your mindset, and it helps you remove obstacles in your life. And I feel like that's what Pathways did for me. And so I loved this. And she talked about there's 3 questions within the Odyssey Plan that you're supposed to ask yourself and think about it and work through it. And I haven't necessarily done that, but I wanted to share it with you because I believe this is something that I'm going to be doing as this year comes to a close and I look into next year, because I think it's super powerful. But I wanted to share it before I did mine, and maybe I'll have some thoughts as I'm telling you. And you can look into this too. You can search Mel Robbins podcast. You can search the Odyssey Plan through Stanford, and you can learn a heck of a lot more about it that I'm going to share today. So I'm just doing the highlights and encouraging you, like I try to do with everybody, encourage you to think about this. And what could you do if you thought about this? What if you did? What would happen if you perhaps did this plan? And I'm just here to encourage you and support you and uplift you. So the first question is, how would your life look like if, like, in 5 years? Some people said, oh, look at it in 5 years, but you know, sometimes that's good to look at a number, like 5 years, 3 years down the road. What would your life look like if you continued to do what you were doing? If that was your story, what would it look like 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road? If you continued to do what you're doing now, lived your life the way that you're doing now, what would it look like? Would you be happy with that? Would it not be good? Would you be disappointed? Do you feel like you're stuck now? Again, this is a way to shake up your thinking. So, do you feel like you're stuck now? Maybe you're happy with your choices and the way that you're living your life now. So, maybe that's okay. It's going to be okay in 3 years or 5 years. I truly believe that, every year, every day, I mean, we just learn new things. And I am always telling people to just be open to the possibilities of something different. And so I would think, even if I just looked at that, what would my life look like if from 5 years down the road, if I kept doing what I'm doing? I don't know. I might be bored. I might be restless. I might be like, is this all there is? Because I know that from year to year, I learn things and I challenge myself to change or to be open to learn and stuff like that. And so I feel like if I kept doing what I'm doing, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be super happy. I do an exercise at the end of the year, beginning of the year, and I've done a couple of podcasts about this, and I'm going to probably do another one at the beginning of the year once I go through this exercise. But it's called Start, Stop, and Continue. And so it's looking at the upcoming year and saying, okay, what am I going to start doing? What am I going to stop doing? And what am I going to continue doing? So doing a reflection to say, okay, what what do I need to start doing in order to XYZ, whatever your goals are. Make more money, be happier, lose 10 pounds or whatever. What do I need to start doing to find joy in my life? What do I need to stop doing? What are those things that aren't working for me that I need to stop doing? And what do I need to continue? Because what are those things that are working? What do you need to continue doing? I know that one thing that I'm going to put in there for continue, and I'll talk about this on a further podcast, is I started to go back to Al-Anon meetings. Al-Anon really helped me during the years that Anna was super struggling a lot, and somebody suggested it. Actually, one of my teammates might have suggested it, but I just was like, I don't know, addictions. I was like, okay. And so Al-Anon really helped me. I'll expand on that in another podcast, but I'm gonna continue to do that because I've just been to a few meetings the end of this year, and it's helping me. It's helping me detach with love. It's helping me really see things a little bit differently. And so I'm gonna continue doing that. So again, that's why I feel like how would my life look if it stayed the same? Like, I don't think I'd like it. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be satisfied because I want to learn and grow and change. And I think that the biggest, what is that saying? The biggest thing that, what is that saying? The biggest thing that stays the same is change or something like that. The biggest constant is change, something like that. So, number two, if the path disappeared tomorrow that you're on, like what you're doing today, what if that disappeared tomorrow? What would you do? People talk about a plan B. They're going to wait till they retire and then they're going to start this. They're going to, wait till they get fired, or they're going to wait till they get a divorce, or they're going to wait till they move to another town or something like that. And they're going to do something different. Well, the fact is, many people they're waiting for tomorrow, and we don't have a promise of tomorrow, right? And we're creating that plan B. So, like, when things change or when I retire or whatever the case is, when I leave this person, this relationship, or when I decide to leave my job, then I'm going to do this. But again, we're not promised tomorrow. And plan Bs are already here. I mean, why not do the plan B now? Why not be the hero of your own life and make, do, because maybe you love what you're doing. I mean, I think about that in the network marketing space. There has been a lot of turmoil in the last couple of years. There have been companies that one day they're like, we don't have any more money. And so there's no more orders, there's no more product. And I thought about that when I heard this podcast. I'm like, what if that happened in my company? Like tomorrow it wasn't there. Like, what would I do? Now, the fact is, I've learned so much in 25 years in helping people support their health and wellness around healthier habits. And I I know how to do that. So I would continue to do that. But I'd have to do it a little bit differently, right? I might have to look for different products and things like that. But I could I could do it. If it went away, I sure as heck hope it doesn't go away because I love this company. I love the brand. I love the community. And actually, we're the fastest growing industry. I mean, we're the fastest growing company in the industry right now. So if you happen to be interested in that, please send me a message and, send me a message that says business or opportunity or something like that because it's amazing. Things are so good right now. But again, I also have heard stories of people that I have a friend of mine who I met through dance, and her husband was waiting to retire to travel more and to do more things with her with his wife, my friend. And he was a couple years from retirement. And you know what? She found him in their kitchen and he had had a massive heart attack and he was gone. And that's not the first story that I've heard. I've heard others that, you know, they w their husband didn't show up for an appointment that they had, and they went home, and he was dead at the house. I mean, things happen, and we aren't promised tomorrow, so why if you're not happy with where you're at, your path, why not do something different? Like, what are you waiting for? When I got a cancer diagnosis, and it was a wake-up call that I didn't know that I needed, it was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I waiting for? Am I waiting?" And I try to encourage people to look at that, like, are you waiting for a diagnosis in order to make a change? Are you waiting for like, what are you waiting for to take that trip, to buy the car, to tell that person you love them, to change your diet, to change your job? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, let's think about those kind of things, because then if you're the hero of your own life, you can send your fear you could send your fear someplace else. You're not afraid because you're like, "Hey, I wanna be the leader of my own life. I want my plan B to be my plan A." And that's okay. Again, I think it's just something powerful to think about. And the third thing is, how would my life look if nothing was holding me back? Like, what if you're like, "I don't know, I'm just gonna do it." I mean, there are plenty of people that have stories like that, and I can't remember them all now, but I've heard them before, like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. I'm just gonna do it because nothing's holding me back. Like, wouldn't that be exciting? It would be scary, right? But it would be so and exciting. And what a powerful thing to do in your life to become the leader of your own life by just saying, nothing's holding me back. Like, let's act like nothing's holding me back and like I can create this. And this is just a short little snippet of a episode here that's gonna be less than 25 minutes, but because I love to listen to short podcasts, so that's what I create for you. But what do you think about these 3 questions? How would your life look like if you continued on this way? What if the path disappeared tomorrow? What would you do then? And what about doing that now? And how would your life look if nothing is holding you back? I think those are really super powerful questions that really do challenge your mindset, helps you expand your mindset, and helps you get rid of those obstacles that perhaps are in the way. I mean, there's that one book called The Obstacle is the Way. The things that challenge us change us, right? And they make us into, we can sit there and take those challenges as bringing us down, or we can take those challenges as changing us and making us for the better, opening up to what's there. I believe that we get very busy, and I say this because I've gotten caught in that busy trap of being so busy and thinking you know what you're supposed to be doing, and you're on this path and yada, 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 yada. And yet, when we slow down, that's when we get those messages and we get those realizations and we get a chance to kind of zoom out and go, I don't know, is this what I really want to be doing? Is this what I should be doing? So I encourage you to think about these questions. And again, thinking about even pathways, like how are you showing up in life? Are you showing up as a victim? Consider Al-Anon if that's something that is going through your life right now. I mean, are you showing up as a martyr? Maybe you're the villain in the story. But what if you could be the leader of your own life? And what if the greatest love of all is about loving yourself and showing up, loving yourself so that you can be all that you can be for the world? And I encourage you to look into this Odyssey Plan from Stanford and these questions. Again, and I share these things because I don't have it all together. I haven't had all the answers, but I've also been challenged in life because I got to a point many, many times that I'm like, I don't want my life to be like this. And I thought that's the way it was supposed to be. I thought that's the way it was going to be. And I was challenged by different people and different things that came into my world. And I was glad that I was open to that because I saw that I could choose differently, that I could have an impact on my life that would change it forever. And as I did that, I could impact other people. But it took a lot of digging down deep emotionally, cutting through all the crap, and really opening up my eyes and my arms to, like, okay, what do you have for me, God? What am I supposed to be doing? And what is this past trauma? What's this past experience? What is it to teach me? And I'll finish this by, I have a great picture, if you will, a print in my office, excuse me, that was created by a friend of mine. It's called, or that says, everything changed the moment that she remembered that happily ever after is a choice. Right? Happily ever after is a choice. We can choose to be happy. We can choose joy. It's not easy, that road that we're on. It takes these challenging questions, the challenging things that we do, but it is a choice. We do have a choice. And I can't wait to hear from you about your choices that you're making in your life. Or maybe you're stuck. Maybe you need some help. I mean, reach out to me because I'm here to coach you and to mentor you and to, if you want to, again, get serious with me about that and changing your life, or you just want to share with me or just hear what I'm up to and the different groups that I run so that you can be a part of that. I challenge you to think about that because we do have a choice in life and we can choose happy, we can choose joy as we go through our lives. So I got to go. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for listening all of the time and sharing with others because I so appreciate it. I started this as idea that perhaps if I shared some of my stories and some of the stories of people that I have met, that we could feel like we're not alone in this life. And that's what it's all about, is just supporting each other in this life and making choices so that we can live our best life. I'll catch you next time, everybody. Take care.